Hi everyone. So yesterday was a huge day for me. It was not only my birthday, I turned 28 yesterday, but it was also my 4-year sober anniversary. So I'm super happy that I can say that I've made it 4 years clean. It definitely took a lot of hard work to get here. Everyone else can do it too. You just have to put the work in and you can't give up. You just got to keep pushing through, doing the right next thing, whatever that may be. We all make our own path in life. For me, getting sober, the easiest thing was to remove myself from people who are using. That was the easiest thing to stay sober for me. Another thing that really helped me stay clean was by staying busy, having things planned, setting goals, having things to look forward to, planning different, trips or different activities with friends or family. Like having a full schedule for me is really what helped me stay sober, because if you're bored and you have too much downtime, I feel like that's when a lot of people relapse, or it could be the opposite way around, where people have too much going on and they are stressed out about what's going on in their life because their life is so hectic or busy. But for me, being busy is what helped me the most. So it may differ from person to person, but that's just what worked for me. I just wanted to share that with you guys. A little bit about how I got sober 4 years ago. Well, 4 years ago in one day, I ended up in detox for drinking. Alcohol was never a drug of choice. I had actually stayed clean from alcohol from a high school hospitalization from drinking too much. So that really scared me, and I didn't drink for, I want to say, 6 years, and then I kind of picked it back up in 2019. From there, and moving backwards a little bit in time, I had been hospitalized for, I think it was 10 days. I was in the hospital for a really bad psychosis that I went through that had traumatized me for life. That from what I thought, I was going to be traumatized for life. Thankfully, 4 years later, I don't have those flashbacks anymore or feel like I necessarily have PTSD from hallucinations that I was seeing or the things that I was hearing. So after that hospitalization, I thought for sure, this is the end. I'm going to be sober. I'm going to be clean. The reason I went into psychosis was from being on meth and GHB. And I think GHB had a really big part in the psychosis, as well as other things that I was using at that time. But that's really what landed me in the hospital and then eventually into the psych ward, because I was going crazy. I lost my mind at that point and ended up going into the psych ward. So I was at like the highest level of care, because the like lower level of care didn't have any openings. So I was sent to like the high intensity unit where like they didn't think that I needed to be, but I needed to be in a psych ward. Once I got there, I was like, I do not belong here. Like, these people are crazy, have way more issues than I have going on. And for me, it was just my addiction that had taken over. To me at that time, it felt like I just don't belong here. So I had been to treatment 2 times prior to this hospitalization. I was like, I need to go back to this place that I went to. I went to this beautiful place. It's called Beauterre in Minnesota. I absolutely loved it, and it helped me so much, and it did help me stay sober for a couple of years after the first time of going there. So I was like, I need to do anything I can to get out of here and go back to Beauterre. So I like got on the phone, started calling Beauterre, like talking to the social worker and the nurses, like trying to make a plan to get out of there as fast as I could, because I truly knew that that's not where I wanted to be. I needed help. I was only 88 pounds at that time, so that was also a really scary thing. Like, I was so close to death because of how skinny I was. I was just, I don't even know. It was the lowest point in my life at that time. So I go to treatment for the 3rd time, and at the time I was talking to this guy who got me into GHB, which is just a terrible drug. And I was doing it at the end. I was having to take it every hour to not feel the withdrawal from it. It's a very weird drug to be addicted to. I don't think many people understood it. When I went to treatment, everyone would always say, what's your DOC? What's your DOC? And I'd be like, GHB. Some of them would say, what's that? and then I'd have to like embarrassingly explain what it is. It's a date rape drug is what it really is. And you basically just like fall asleep. I gained this tolerance to it where like I could stay awake, and it's just this terrible thing, and it was literally killing my insides very quickly. I get to treatment. I have the same counselor that I had the first time I went there, and I gained my weight back. I gained 30 pounds while I was there, which was amazing. I came out of that place looking like a completely different person. And then what do? I go back and hang out with this guy that introduced me to this date rape drug. And I thought he was sober, and it turned out that he was not sober, and I don't even know if I made it a day or two without relapsing, but I was right back at it, and that led me into a even worse psychosis that I wasn't hospitalized for. And I'd like to make some videos about my psychosis experiences because they are crazy. It's just so crazy how hallucinations and auditorial hallucinations are, and it's very scary. It was very traumatizing. I had issues with it for years, and recently, probably about a year ago, I feel like I finally was like, okay, I'm better now. But that psychosis, the one that I didn't go to the hospital for, I feel like it changed who I am as a person forever. Like it impacted my life in so many ways. I don't have that same spark that I used to have. I feel like my speech has changed. From time to time, I will like feel like I'm hallucinating or like seeing like these little floaty things, or like just like always worried that this psychosis is gonna come back, because I did a lot of research on it, and it apparently can come back. And it did one time, actually, about like a year later after I had gotten sober, and I had tried smoking weed. Right after I smoked, like I started hearing things like my name being said over and over and over again, and I was like, nope, I am not smoking weed ever again. So after I relapsed, I just went through a terrible dark phase in my life, and eventually was like, nope, I'm not hanging out with this guy anymore. We're done. And that was it. I ignored him, blocked him, everything. Had actually reconnected with my ex at the time. So on my birthday 4 years ago, this is where I got sober. My plan for that day was to go to this Christmas light show in Mankato. It's called the Kiwanis Light Show. I was like, oh, I'm gonna drink White Claws while I'm driving. So I have like 3 White Claws. We make it about halfway there. I get really upset at my ex-boyfriend because somehow he like did something to my phone where it was no longer working, and I couldn't use my GPS. I couldn't call anyone. I couldn't text anyone. So I was like freaking out. I had like this manic episode, and I went into the liquor store. I bought another 6-pack of White Claws, started drinking more. Somehow I black out at that point. I don't know what in the world is going on. I wake up at the hospital. Like I had no clue how I got there, why I was there. And they took me to Brown County Detox, which is like the smallest detox in Minnesota. It's way down south, in the middle of nowhere, like literally the middle of nowhere. And sadly, it was my birthday, and I didn't get to see this Christmas show that I wanted to see so bad, these lights. And so like the next day I woke up and was feeling sober, made some phone calls. I called my ex-boyfriend. I'm like, what happened? Like, what in the world? Like, I'm trying to figure out what happened, how I ended up here in detox. And he was just like, you had a manic episode, and I basically kicked the windshield out of my car. When I got out of detox, I saw my car parked at the hospital, and like I kicked my windshield so hard that it shattered the entire thing. I don't know how I had the strength to do that, because I'm a very small person. I must have strong leg muscles or something. I don't know. That's how I got sober, is that last detox that I ended up in. Like, I can't do this anymore. I need to do something about this and change my life, actually do something about this situation I've got myself into. Fast forward about a year, I get a job at a treatment center that I was just like so excited to start at. And I have mentioned before in my other video, or I think it was a live, that I really want to work in a treatment center again after Lucas passing. I just want to continue to help others in recovery and share my story with them, share my experiences, and try to give them strength that they can do it too. And I'd like to make a video about what it's like working at a treatment center, because I've worked at 2 different treatment centers for a total, from both working at both of them, there's a total of 2.5 years working in a treatment center. So I have a lot of experience working with people with addiction and mental health, and it was my absolute favorite job that I've ever had. So stay tuned for a video about what it's like working in a treatment center, because it is, if you haven't worked in a treatment center before, it's the most crazy but rewarding job ever. So, and just a quick update, I have been feeling a tiny bit better since Lucas's passing. I still do feel numb most days, and the biggest thing for me is just distractions. Being with friends, being with family, cleaning my apartment, trying to find motivation to do the smallest things. Like, that's what's helping me get through this grief and loss. And I miss Lucas so much. I wish he was here, and I know he would be so proud of me for sharing this kind of stuff with you guys on YouTube and being so vulnerable. And I just want to thank everyone for watching my videos and supporting me, and continuing to support Lucas as well, because yeah, I miss him. And I'm gonna end this video with that.